Okay, so I think I owe you a video because I hadn't posted in over a year, and here we are at the end of January 2024. Wanted to catch you up with what I've been doing. Cheers. Last year we traveled a whole lot. I traveled alone and with my wife throughout Europe, I think 11 countries. I don't know. I think it was 8 countries just for beer and some other countries incidentally. Try to catch you up on what I did 2023 and give you an idea of what to do 2024 and some mistakes I made that I don't want to repeat. So here we go. Started off the year here at home in Strasbourg. Early in January, we decided to go to Paris for almost a week, just as a vacation. We have museum passes. We're friends of the Louvre and friends of Pompidou, so we can kind of go as often as we want and skip the lines, and it's a good way to go. And then in February, my wife had a conference in Cannes, in the south of France. Really pretty. Mistakes were made. We stayed at a hotel near the train station in Cannes and mistakenly put stuff in the hotel safe, thinking that would be safe, a good place to do things. And at one point I was taking a nap and somebody had tried to come in the room and I didn't really think anything of it. And then as we were leaving, going home on the train, I started getting alerts from my credit card company saying that it had been fraud. I go to look in my passport wallet and discovered, wow, all of my emergency credit cards were missing. And a stack of cash, and that was a problem. So what had happened is I'd put the passport wallet in the hotel safe, and someone had emptied the cash and the credit cards out of the passport wallet. The hotel was totally unresponsive when I told them about this incident, until I posted on Booking.com a review basically saying you're going to get ripped off if you stay in this hotel. So what I should have done, this is my passport wallet. It looks like this. It has a slot up top for cash and slot pocket, zippered pocket here for credit cards, and then the passport itself is on the side. It has this handy strap, and I should have used it like I always do. I just kept it with me, where the strap goes on my belt and the whole wallet goes down inside my pants. The back side of it's pretty soft and doesn't really bother you as much. And the other thing is, traveling in Schengen zone, I don't really need the passport wallet because just my card identity works to cross borders. But I like traveling with my passport in case something happens and we need to cross a different border. So that was unfortunate. This, I should have used it the way it's intended, and I'll never trust a hotel safe again. Another thing some people do when they feel like they have to leave something in the room is use a binder clip and clip their wallet or their papers or whatever it is that they're trying to hide into a natural pleat in the drapes in the hotel room. Kind of clip it against the wall and it's basically invisible. Nobody's cleaning the backside of the drapes. So hotel safes are dangerous. Later in February, I went to Copenhagen kind of on a beer expedition. Was supposed to meet some Czech friends there. Some of them have interest in breweries and wanted to compare notes with Mikkeller, who operates at War Pigs, a very similar sized brewery to my friend's brewery in Pilsen. Copenhagen was absolutely amazing. I had a great trip there. Then in March, I went to Ramrad for the HB Con there, which is the German National Homebrew Convention. Proctored an exam there. It was fun. It was really interesting. Ramrad is about dead center of Germany, and no one spoke English there. Normally, we go to Germany to get away from speaking French and enjoy speaking some English, but no one spoke English in Ramrad. Plus, we had to go back a day earlier than I'd planned because the hotel was closed on Sunday or Monday that I was going to stay, so that wasn't possible, which meant that we encountered some train strikes in France and couldn't get all the way home, but just got to extreme Western Germany and came on home the next day. But still, it was a pretty interesting trip. Then in April, I went to the Prague Beer Festival. This guy in Prague. Ran into a whole bunch of old friends, some new friends. Ran into a roommate of mine from 10 years ago when I was studying in Prague. So that was pretty cool. And ran into some Polish friends who were doing a little lecture on Grodzinski beer, this traditional smoked Polish beer that's pretty amazing, and they're trying to now sell that beer across the world. So that was a big fun trip. Then in May I went to Pilsen in Czech Republic for their first homebrew competition. What a great event. It was really fun. It was in the Art Deco rooms, these 100-year-old conference rooms in the Pilsner Urquell brewery itself. Really, really a fun trip, and one of the places I definitely want to go back this year. Then in June, we spent a couple weeks in Budapest, Hungary. There was a homebrew competition there the second week, but the week before, there was the Budapest Beer Week, this class, which was kind of fun. Big festival, lots of international breweries, not just European, but some American breweries as well, and some Australian breweries. I thought that was pretty interesting. Had a good time. Of course, I run into Czech and Ukrainian people there as well, and which means more drinking and more fun. Pardon me. Then in June, went back to Prague to meet up with some other Czech brewers, and we were doing an expedition to the Ukraine, to Lviv, again to kind of build relationships and look for beer opportunities as Ukraine ultimately wins this war. That was a really interesting trip, very educational. I'd never been that far east before, so that was pretty cool. The border at Poland was really interesting. We did this by train, and it's a train that had been an old Soviet train and had been basically pulled out of the old yards and recommissioned because of all this increased travel. The Russians hadn't attacked Lviv, where we were staying, in a long time, like more than 6 months, but of course they attacked the night that we were there. But the old American Patriot missile systems anti-missile systems took everything out. So it was really interesting. After that, back to Prague for a few days, and home for a few days, and then we went to Helsinki, Finland, to proctor a BJCP exam. Helsinki was beautiful, really had a great time, and happened to run across a beer festival there as well, Craft Beer Helsinki. A lot of the same breweries that I had already seen in Budapest, but a few different ones. Had a good time. We also took the ferry across to Estonia to visit Tallinn. Much less expensive in Estonia than it is in Finland. And the old city walls are still intact, a lot of history intact. It was really pretty cool. I'm glad we did that. Then we were back home for a few weeks before we went back to Paris again to hit some museums and enjoy Paris. You know, Paris is only 2 hours from here by train, so if I can get a good, a well-priced ticket, there's just no reason not to go. That brings us to August, when we went to Košice, Slovakia, because I had promised a friend of mine that I would help judge in their competition. And just to prove a point to my wife, I decided I would try to find a way to go to Slovakia from Strasbourg without going through the Czech Republic, because apparently I go to the Czech Republic a lot. So we went to Dresden first. I had never really spent any time in Dresden, just threw it on trains, so that was fun. visited some cool history, some beautiful, beautiful city. Really is a beautiful city. From Dresden, we went to Krakow. I had only been to Krakow in the winter, so it was really exciting to see it when there wasn't 9 feet of snow on the ground. Totally beautiful. Went to the castle, some museums, had a good time there. Then took the bus from Krakow through the mountains on the border between Poland and Slovakia. That was a beautiful bus ride. To Košice, where we spent some time. Beautiful. We'd been to Slovakia several times, but this is my first time to a city besides Bratislava, and that was pretty cool. And my friend's brewery there has its fermentation rooms underground, where they had done some archaeology, and they still have some glass floor panels to show where the digs were. Apparently they found some of the hoards of coins and some pretty cool stuff in Košice. That was fun. We came back through Bratislava and Munich. Always fun. And then, what the hell, took another trip to Paris, just because we can. That brings us to September, where we went to Rennes, Brittany, France, to proctor a BJCP exam there. Hung out, had a great time. My wife and I both went, but she had to come back a few days before me. And my daughter was flying into Paris, so I decided just to hang out in Rennes until my daughter came to Paris, which is only 45 minutes from Rennes by train. So my daughter was here for a week's visit in Strasbourg. We had a great time. I think she had a great visit, and she got to go to the Strasbourg Beer Festival with us. And we ran into a couple of breweries we really liked. It's a small festival, but pretty interesting, and with some good quality breweries there. And we carried some cases of beer back on the tram home, and that was quite the challenge. That brings us to October. We went to Brussels. My wife had a deal there. I can always go to Brussels and hang out and drink beer, so I did. We spent almost a week in Brussels. It's never enough time there. I love Brussels. I love everything about Belgian beer. It was a good trip. At the end of October and into November, we had a BJCP exam to proctor in Florence, Italy. So we went, and Florence was absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I'd never been to Florence before, but historically it's very important. And it's really interesting to see the beer scene in Italy is so far ahead of the beer scene here in France. That was really pretty cool. We really enjoyed visiting Italy. Then in November, we were supposed to go to Oxford, England. Well, and we got halfway there. We took the train to Paris, and then we're supposed to take the Eurostar to London. Sadly, we were just a little too comfortable on French trains. We travel on trains a lot, and my wife's backpack was stolen. We put it on the shelf above our seat and didn't even really think anything about it. Somebody managed to get her backpack and get off the train with it without us seeing it before we even left Strasbourg. And she had some earbuds in it and an air tag in it as well, so we knew where the bag had gone, but the police didn't really do much to help us. But we did get to talk to the nice police in the Paris train station, and when we had discovered the problem, and the nice police in Strasbourg who, they were nice, but they didn't really do anything, sadly. So the lesson learned there is not to be so comfortable and confident that you know what you're doing that you get your stuff stolen. So the backpack should have been in her lap or at her feet until the train is moving, and then you move it up to the shelf because, well, there's no place for someone to go once the train is moving. That was unfortunate. Then November, back to the Czech Republic for the beer competition in Brno, where I have friends, and that was fun. Stopped off in Nuremberg on the way back to visit some other friends and drink some of the famous beer in Franconia. That was awesome. In December, back to Rennes for their beer competition. That was really cool. It was good to see all those guys after just a few months, and they were all riding high, anticipating really good scores on their BJCP exams. I capped off the year in December in Krakow, Poland, for the only professional beer event that I do. Super well run, the Craft Beer Roku. I'm drinking out of one of their glasses right now. Really a humbling experience. Some of the best judges in all of the world are there. Some of the best beer experts, some of the best beer vendors in all the world. And the Polish people themselves in the Polish beer industry really quite advanced. Between Polish hops and the Grodzinski people I mentioned earlier, the Brewers Association there, the Craft Beer Roku people, it's all really well organized and well funded as well. So a great event. I got home maybe a week before Christmas and started to get sick. I made it one night to see the lights in the center of Strasbourg, because the Marché de Noël here in Strasbourg is absolutely phenomenal and everyone should try to see it. Then I collapsed and have been exhausted. So that's what I've been up to. I hope all of you are well. I hope we can find a way to the U.S. this year to visit. If not, or even still, it's even better is if you guys will come visit us here in France. All right, that's all for now. See you later. Bye.